Imagine you win the lottery. Not just $1 million, I'm talking about a jackpot so big you could buy a small country. Now, imagine 10 years later you are eating out of a dumpster. Impossible? Well, welcome to Venezuela. This country isn't just rich in oil, it is the king of oil. They have more black gold underground than Saudi Arabia, Iran or Russia. 303 billion barrels of the stuff. Theoretically, every Venezuelan citizen should be a millionaire. But in reality, they are fleeing the country by the millions. How does this happen? How do you starve to death while sleeping on a bed made of caviar? Today, we are diving into the wildest economic roller coaster in history. From exploding oil wells to exploding inflation. This is the story of the oil curse. Let's rewind the clock. Way back to 1914. Venezuela was a quiet agricultural backwater. Farmers grew coffee and cocoa. Nobody cared about the sticky black sludge seeping out of the ground. They used it to waterproof their canoes. But the Europeans sniffed money. Shell oil arrived and started poking holes in the ground. For 8 years, nothing much happened. Until December 14th, 1922. In the Maracaibo Basin, a well named Los Barrosos II didn't just start pumping. It exploded. A jet of oil shot 200 feet into the air. It was like a volcano, but instead of lava, it was liquid cash. For 9 straight days, it rained oil. 100,000 barrels a day. Overnight, Venezuela wasn't just a coffee farm anymore. It was the hottest gas station on Earth. Enter this guy. General Juan Vicente Gomez. He ran Venezuela like it was his own personal hacienda. When the Americans and Europeans came knocking with suitcases full of cash, Gomez said, "Come on in." He loved foreign oil companies. Why? Because they made him filthy rich. He gave them whatever they wanted. No taxes? Sure. No regulations? Why not? While the foreign companies were swimming in profits, the average Venezuelan got, well, pretty much nothing. But hey, at least the dictator had a nice palace, right? This era established a dangerous habit. The government learned they didn't need to tax citizens or build industries. They just needed to suck oil out of the ground. By the 1940s, Venezuelans started waking up. They looked at the Americans getting rich and said, "Hey, isn't that our dirt you're drilling in?" In 1943 they passed a groundbreaking law, the 50-50 split. Half the profit for the company, half for the government. It changed the game globally. Suddenly Venezuela had cash, real cash. For a few decades it actually worked. Venezuela became the Saudi Arabia of South America. They built highways, skyscrapers and cities. It was the envy of Latin America. But greed is a funny thing. It's never enough. In 1976, the president decided that 50% wasn't cool. He wanted 100%. He nationalized the entire industry. They created a state-owned giant, PDVSA. And honestly, at first they crushed it. It was a well-oiled machine, literally. But they made one fatal mistake. They put all their eggs in one oily basket. They stopped making anything else. Why grow corn when you can just buy it with oil money? Then came the 1980s. The oil price crashed. And when you're a one-trick pony and the trick stops working, you're in trouble. The money vanished, the debt piled up. The government tried to raise gas prices in 1989, and the capital city, Caracas, burned. The army shot its own people. Thousands died. The trust was shattered. The stage was set for a saviour, or a destroyer, depending on who you ask. Out of the smoke stepped a charismatic lieutenant colonel named Hugo Chavez. He tried a coup, went to jail, and became a folk hero. In 1998, he won the presidency by promising to take the oil money from the corrupt elites and give it to the poor. And for a while, he did exactly that. Chavez was basically Santa Claus in a red beret, but he made a deal with the devil. In 2002, the experts at the oil company went on strike. Chavez didn't negotiate. He grabbed a whistle on live TV and fired them. Not a few of them. He fired 18,000 highly trained engineers and managers. Think about that. He fired the only people who knew how to get the oil out of the ground. He replaced them with political loyalists. People who knew a lot about Marxism, but nothing about drilling. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. How did Venezuela suddenly claim they had more oil than Saudi Arabia? It was a magic trick. You see, most of Venezuela's oil isn't the nice liquid stuff. It's in the Orinoco belt, and it's basically tar. It's thick, heavy sludge. To turn that sludge into gasoline requires massive, expensive refineries. When oil prices are high, it's worth it. When prices are low, it's worthless dirt. Chavez died in 2013. He left the keys to his hand-picked successor, a former bus driver named Nicolas Maduro. Maduro has the worst luck in history. As soon as he took over, oil prices collapsed. The piggy bank was empty. The experts were gone. The machinery was rusting. To fix it, Maduro just printed more money. Result? Hyperinflation. The richest country in South America became a place where people hunted zoo animals for food. Then came the final blow. The United States slapped heavy sanctions on Venezuela. They made it illegal for Venezuela to sell oil to its biggest customer, the USA. It crippled an industry that was already on life support. Production fell to levels not seen since the 1940s. Today, Venezuela is a ghost of its former self. The oil is still there, all 303 billion barrels of it, sitting quietly under the dirt. But there is no money to get it out, and no one to buy it. It is the ultimate lesson in economics. Resources don't make you rich, management does. What do you think? Can Venezuela ever recover? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this tragedy of errors, hit that like button and subscribe.